Welcome to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network with your hostess, Jen Josie. Join like-minded real estate investors and accelerate your business towards greatness. You will hear step-by-step strategies for success, interviews with real estate rock stars, and we will dig deep into past projects where we bear it all, including the good, the bad, and some just plain ugly. So get excited. Here's the bestower of badassery herself, the real Jen Josie. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm Jen Josie, creator of RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Whoop, whoop. On today's episode, we have a guest who will be sharing their badassery, going from caregiver to real estate developer, building luxury memory care homes in the Texas Hill Country. But before we begin, here's today's badassery bestowment, a little badass gift to you. Today's topic is cash on cash return. Rain Nation, let's talk about the number that tells you whether a deal is actually putting money in your pocket. Cash on cash return. Because a property can look amazing on paper and still be a mediocre deal once you look at what your actual cash is doing for you. So let's break it down. Here are 5 things to know about cash on cash return. Number 1, it only measures the cash you actually invested. Cash on cash return divides your annual pre-tax cash flow by the actual cash you put in the deal, like down payment, closing costs, and rehab, not the full purchase price. That's what makes it different from the cap rate. Number 2, it tells you how hard your money is working. If you put $50,000 into a deal and it kicks off $5,000 a year in cash flow, that's a 10% cash on cash return. It's a quick gut check on whether your capital could be doing better somewhere else. Number 3, leverage changes the math. The more you finance, the less cash you have in the deal, which can push your cash on cash return up, but it also raises your risk. Don't chase the percentage without looking at the debt behind it. Number 4, it's a snapshot, not the whole picture. Cash on cash return doesn't account for appreciation, principal paydown, or tax benefits. A deal with a modest cash on cash number can still be a great long-term hold once you factor those in. And number 5, it's a fast way to compare deals, apples to apples. Run the same formula on every property you're considering, and you'll quickly see the ones that are actually worth your capital instead of just your attention. So, Rain Nation, here's the badass bottom line. Know your numbers before you fall in love with a property. Cash on cash return won't tell you everything, but it will keep you honest. Now on to today's episode of the Real Estate Investor Growth Network podcast. Today's guest is Nicole Becerra, who spent years on the front lines of caregiving. She sat with families in some of the hardest moments of their lives, watching them scramble to find a place for a parent or grandparent that actually felt like home instead of a facility. Most people would clock this as heartbreaking and just leave it there. Nicole looked at it and thought, I can build something better. So she taught herself land acquisition, entitlement, financing, and new construction. And now she's developing luxury memory care homes in the Texas Hill Country. What gets me is she didn't even come from real estate. She came from caregiving. And she's proof that your background doesn't have to match your vision for you to go build it. She's also the founder of Builders of Care, a nonprofit supporting families and caregivers and helping small providers build the kind of homes seniors actually deserve. It's my pleasure to have her on the show, so welcome, Nicole Becerra.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so looking forward to talking to you and your listeners and sharing my story.
Well, thank you. And we are speaker sisters, which we are part of the same women's speaking group. That's how we met. And for anyone out there, we'll give a shout out, Mic Drop Workshop. Yes. With Jess
Sorry.
I know. Jess Ekstrom. There's like a few thousand different ones that she does, and they're all very affordable, but it's an online group and there's a great networking, and she helps place people into speaking roles that actually pay money. But
Yes.
that is not why you're here. Nicole, we were chit-chatting before we hit record, and I'm just so very impressed with your story. So I have questions prepared and this so I can keep this organized here, but take me back to you as the personal caregiver. Like, what happened where you decided you wanted to shift into this new mission of yours?
It was my first shift as a professional caregiver. And my first shift was at 6 a.m., one on one with a client who had a shared room. So I was assigned to her. Her roommate had somebody else. And when I went in for that first shift, I just really witnessed the indignity and the pressure. And that's basically what happened was I felt somebody was manhandled. When you get somebody up in the morning, it should be calm. You should know their name. You should speak kindly to them. And I saw none of that. I saw people falling on the, not falling, but laying on the ground, crying in the corner, people being ignored, answers for help getting ignored, or calls for help getting ignored. I just didn't see any kind of dignity in there. And I just knew after my first shift, after seeing like just repetitive offenses, that I could do better and that people deserved better.
Absolutely. Was there like a particular family or resident that has stuck with you the most in that situation?
Oh yeah, that first resident, she had fallen the day before and she had just moved to the facility. And falls happen. It's going to happen. But the aha moment was not just necessarily me taking care of her, because I give good care, but it was watching how the rest of of the other residents were getting care. They weren't getting the kind of intimate care that they should be getting. A lot of times, families will put their loved ones in there and not realizing that they need more attention that they're getting. It's not just putting them in a room. What happens on the day-to-day basis from when you wake up and get dressed and get ready for the day, and the activities you do, and the dining, all of that is not very dignified. It's the responsibility of one caregiver who needs to take care of 15 to 20 residents. Sometimes they don't have time to stop and treat people with as much dignity as you'd think, because they're checking the boxes. They're not trying to give that much compassion. They need to get them out of bed, into clean clothes, in their chairs or in their wheelchairs or in their walkers, and they need to get them down the hall. It's just very rushed. And the resident that I took care of was asking me, am I going to die today? And it just struck me. And I thought, no, not today. And I just took the best care of her that I could. And I loved on her and I sat with her, and I got the luxury of being able to do that. And I think that's where the aha moment for me was witnessing sort of what for me was the horror of how people are cared for versus what can happen when it's a smaller, intimate setting. And so through my caregiving experience, I saw the horrors that happened in big corporate care. And I saw the beautiful, intimate moments and compassion and dignity that were in smaller homes. And that's really what inspired me to think, they're not doing anything that I can't do. I can run my own home. And so as I dug into the economics of how do I get my license, how do I get residents, how many residents can I care for, how many staff, that led to looking to build my own home from the ground up at a 16-room model where I can charge enough to pay my caregivers well and still give good care in a small environment.
So let's dive into that, because you have it labeled as luxury. What is it called?
Luxury memory care mansions. And
Yeah.
what is that? It's going to be a beautiful home, a home like your mom's house. It's going to be resort style with amenities, a salon, activities room, library room, garden room, all of the amenities that you're going to get in a senior community, for instance, but in a small home. I mean, 16 bedrooms doesn't sound like it's not 100 rooms. It's a big house. But within that house, it's just like any other. Everybody has their own private bath, their own private bed. There's a 1-to-4 caregiver ratio. And that's a lot of eyes on your loved one. That's making sure that they have everything they need and then some. And I think that's where the luxury comes in, because clinically, of course, you're checking off those boxes. But is somebody actually sitting with your loved one, getting to know them, knowing that they had maybe a past as a teacher, and saying, I need some help correcting these papers, and thinking creatively of how to still give joy to these residents, still make them feel like they have purpose, not just parking them in a wheelchair and parking them in front of a TV, but having real interaction.
So, Nicole, I hear the term luxury, and I mean, we just went through this with my mother a couple years ago, and it is expensive.
It is.
I keep saying older, but for elderly care and to have all of that, are you I'm sure there's a need for that, but are you able to do any type of break in costs or fees for people who maybe can't afford something like that are in a really horrible situation?
That's where Builders of Care comes in. Builders of Care is a nonprofit that I'd started to do just that, because pay caregivers deserve good pay. It is emotional, physical labor that requires a huge amount of patience. And so Builders of Care is about balancing the need for seniors to have good care and the need to pay for good care. And so we have scholarships for seniors who maybe need a higher level of care, but are suffering without it and can't pay for it. So our scholarships fill that gap. So many caregivers have their loved one at home and are bringing in caregivers to work during the daytime, for instance. We can help pay for that gap. Many caregivers or many family members don't know what they're doing when it comes to care and can't afford better care. Our scholarships are meant to fill that gap as well, because everybody deserves good care.
Oh my goodness. And I love that you're doing that. And I know you clearly are passionate about this because you're seeing it from the caregiver side, but this is a real estate investor podcast. So what are you doing now? I read somewhere you bought a couple acres, but you're only putting 2 properties on there. Like what are you doing now to bring this dream to fruition?
So what we're doing is we bought 14 acres and we're building 2 homes on there because that's what septic laws allow, to be quite frankly.
Gotcha.
And learning some of the ordinances and regulations when it comes to purchasing raw land and understanding what you want to do with it has been sort of the biggest hurdle. Like I know about the houses and I know how I want to run them, but the land development part of it has been a real education. From researching the demographics of a particular area. Ours is in Hill Country because we believe that Austin and the surrounding cities, it's a great area to be in. They have the right affluency. They have an aging population. They're growing. I think Dripping Springs was just in the Wall Street Journal last week as one of the biggest booming towns. And so, yeah, people talk about the building of single family homes, but they're not addressing the seniors that are part of that community. Nobody's building the kind of senior care that people really deserve to be in. And so working with the city, working with the county, we were able to get the zoning correct, to get our septic rules figured out. And it's been an education.
That's going to be a big septic. For how many bedrooms are the properties?
So each property is 16 rooms. And for that county, because it's raw land and we're building all the infrastructure, they want so many square feet per resident And that ends up being almost 2 to 3 acres per home of extra land that we just need for septic.
Oh my
Texas Hill Country has just different rules,
Oh,
but it's in a place where we want to be because it's beautiful and there's a lot of homes around there, but there's really no other senior care. There's a couple of big corporate facilities, but there's nothing that's going to provide the love and the care that I'm going to provide. And I think that is just a real need for growing communities and an
absolutely.
opportunity too to
Yes.
get into, especially if you have a home. And that's something I thought would be interesting to touch on is almost anybody can do this. Anybody can have an existing home, refurbish it, hire an operator
Yep.
and start accepting clients, go through the licensing. It's a lot of work, but it's not impossible.
Yeah, there was a program, REL, Residential Assisted Living, that was, I think it's still around actually, that I had some friends that went through that and really wanted to get into this industry. And we're just looking at existing homes that you could maybe subdivide rooms and add on extra bathrooms and things like that. That's kind of the whole concept behind it. And there's also pad split for doing the shared spaces and co-living. I mean, it's lots and lots of investors and lenders too are now really looking at this as a way to make money, but also still provide affordable housing. But you are still going to keep the luxury aspect of it. And I love that it's on, you said 14 acres. I mean, you could put little wheelchair paths through there and just really because I remember my grandmother, I wanted to get her out of that facility where she was staying. She shared a room with someone. She had great care back then, but just getting her out. She loved Wendy's Frosties and just to take her through the drive-through, but we didn't have any place there to push her around, and it was literally like a parking lot out front. So what an opportunity you have to build even more. So what's your vision with that?
It's going to be a neighborhood. It's going to be so in the 14 acres, you drive into the middle of the parking lot, a home on the right, a home on the left, and the back 10, since we can't build on it, that's going to be exactly what you had described, is just a beautiful walking path.
Love it.
So when families come, we're building a beautiful courtyard in the back. They can go on that walking path. They can get their hands in some dirt on the raised beds, plant some flowers. I really believe that luxury is love, because that's often what's missing. So aside from building these beautiful mansions with all of the amenities, the private chef, the salon, all of the volunteers and everybody coming to you in a beautiful setting, you get your own room, your own private bathroom.
I'm going to
Which
need
is,
a bar.
I think, for a lot of people is important.
Are you going to have a bar at this place? That's what I'm going to need.
We'll have mocktails.
Mocktails.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I got to keep my liver going at this age, though.
Exactly. Well, yeah, that's so many things and that's kind of the beauty of the stage that I'm at right now, is because I'm at a point where I'm literally building this. I've bought the land. I've got the contractors. I'm about to get my SBA loan. We're finalizing the actual architectural plans. And so now building on the inside and choosing paint colors that are soothing and hiring my staff and training my staff. I really want to be the Disneyland of dementia care, honestly. I want people to go in and be like, I want to move in here.
Well,
Because I just want
get a bar and I'll be there.
Yeah, exactly. I want every interaction to be full of love and respect, because just because somebody has dementia, it does not diminish their dignity.
Yes.
And they still feel so much emotional connection. And I think that they might not have some of the cognition that they used to, but they still have the joy.
Yes. Well said. So Mosaic Memory Care, why that name? Where does Mosaic come from?
Mosaic is about, when you look at a mosaic, when you stand back, it's a beautiful picture, right? And when you come up close, you realize that it's made up of a bunch of little different pieces. And that's life. And that's taking care of somebody. A beautiful life is not just one person's responsibility. It's the responsibility of their caregiver, of their doctor, of their social worker, of the chef who makes meals for them, of all these different little pieces that come together and work together to give somebody a beautiful life, even in the late stages of dementia. And so, yeah, Mosaic just felt right.
That is a great name. I'm all about names. I coach real estate investors all day long. And when we create business names and stuff, I'm like, don't do the initials Homes, like JK Homes. Or I'm like, come on, So I love unique and meaningful names. And so I love that. Now,
you.
I know you're a newbie in all of this, but how has that actually worked for your benefit, being a newbie in this industry?
Oh my gosh. It's allowed me to play. It's allowed me to play big without feeling like I'm taking a huge risk. I don't have to know it all. And it's allowed me not to feel cringe, so to speak, when I raise my hand and be like, can you tell me what an OSSF is? An on site sewage facility. I have just had an amazing time just throwing myself out there and saying, I don't know everything, but my heart's in this. So help me learn. And most people, most everybody have been super receptive about that. If you don't know it, don't be afraid to ask and say, I need to learn this. And here's why. Most people want to help you. And you can use that to your advantage to ask as many questions as you can. Yeah.
I love
I
that.
think I think that's a secret weapon, actually.
It's so smart, and you don't know what you don't know, and so you just keep driving forward because you have this mission. Where I have been and done things where I'm like, oh, this part's coming up, and you're just tossing and turning over it, but you're like, nope, keep pushing forward. I think that's fantastic. Have you had any experiences with like contractors who give you a tough time or anything, or?
When we were interviewing contractors, absolutely. We went through several interviews trying to find somebody who spoke our language, so to speak, and yeah, you're going to find those people who rattle off a lot of information and you're just kind of like a deer in headlights. Same thing with city officials, same thing with anybody. And I never had a problem saying, this is my first rodeo. Can we reverse for a minute? Can you explain it to me like I'm 5? And honestly, I feel like with most anything, you should be able to explain it to somebody like they're 5.
Yep.
Clarity. So yeah, I've ran into contractors that would just spoke way above my head. But once we found our contractor, he was so down to earth, had no problem explaining everything to us, and they're out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just keep looking.
And good for you for like passing on the others. I think that's very important.
Got to feel good about who you work with.
Oh my goodness. And that's half the battle right there. So I want to you mentioned SBA loan. So
Yes.
that sounds like so much paperwork, and that's just not, you have this vision where you want to provide this and you've got to get from here to here. There's all this paperwork in between, and a lot of people can look at it and go, yeah, that's just too much for me, and just give up. So how's that process going for you?
It's one step at a time. It's understanding your numbers for sure, understanding my pro forma for how my business is going to run, how much my operating expenses are, my payroll, understanding that, and then showing the bank that this is my plan. This is how I'm going to repay you back. And then, yeah, letting them in on your finances and your savings and your tax returns and all of that. It feels vulnerable, but it is what it is. And they just really want to see that you know what you're doing, that you're passionate, that your idea holds water. We had to get third-party feasibility studies. That's a new thing that we had to do. I didn't know what that was. It was basically somebody else doing all the research that I'd already done, but just that it's a third party because they're not biased. And of course, I'm going to tell my bank, I'm a great bet.
So you keep saying, I'm sorry, I cut you off, but you keep saying we. So do you have other investors that are working with you? Do you have mentors? Who's the we that you keep mentioning?
My wonderful husband.
Perfect.
Who is my biggest investor. Yeah. we have pivoted a little bit and put our savings into purchasing the land. We bought the land for 1.6. We put a good chunk towards that, of our savings towards that, and we're financed the rest of the property. And so now we're working with the same bank who gave us the land loan to give us our SBA loan. So they're going to take that land loan, wrap it up in this new SBA loan, and start giving us installments to do the groundwork, the infrastructure, then build the homes itself. It's once you understand the sort of the steps that it takes, it's not as intimidating as it sounds. It's just it is a lot of paperwork, and it feels intrusive maybe, but I believe in this project. And I believe that the need for senior care is only growing. I know it. The numbers don't lie. And so I think banks are looking at this deal and similar deals and greenlighting them because, yeah, we need them.
Well, Nicole, I'm just so shocked you're doing this all on your own and you don't have other people investing. Or are you looking for investors to invest with you?
Not yet.
Oh my
Honestly,
goodness.
I know that's right. I want to prove this to myself as much as I want to prove it to the world. I want to be able to have full control over the whole project. And so I'm putting all my skin and then some into this. And I wouldn't have it any other way at this point. Once I have proof of concept and my home is fully occupied and my staff are kind of running like clockwork, then I definitely am interested in building 10 more, 20 more, and using what I've built as a platform to say, you can do it too, or let's do it together. Let's build 10 more communities, 20 more communities, because good care happens in small homes, and we need more of these small homes.
Oh my goodness. I'm
Yeah.
still shocked that you don't have people investing on this because you, Nicole, in this industry, you are a light for so many people, and that you have this dream and you're like, no, I'm doing this on my own. And I'm like, wait, what? So I am just so very impressed because honestly, I get people who want to be guests on my show who are looking for investors and they have great missions and everything, but you're like, nope, don't need your money. I got this all right here. And then you're going to then triple, double, quadruple, and keep redoing it. But there
Yeah.
is a way that people can help this dream, this vision, is they can donate to Builders of Care. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So that's your
Yeah.
nonprofit.
Yes. Through Builders of Care, we do want to help other small operators with capital injections, whatever they need. That is something that I believe passionately about. And I think that we need more people to kind of wake up and recognize that you can make a great living helping your fellow man. And we're going to help you get started. Whether you want to renovate your home, we can help get you a grant for that. Whether you want to build a memory care mansion for yourself, you've got 5 acres, Colorado, you don't know what to do with it, build some senior care on it. Because when it comes to this niche, we need better care now, not like tomorrow. Yeah.
I agree. And I'm going to go back to the whole idea of the financing of things, and something for you to consider are people my age. I'm in my almost mid 50s, and this is on the horizon for me. And it could be something, you have long-term care policies that you can buy and things like that. So I really think you need to start thinking ahead and getting people to start like building their fund that would go towards living in one of your properties once you get a bar, of course, because remember, I'm going to need a bar where I'm just kidding.
We'll put a mini bar in a room just for you. Your private room will have its own mini
I
bar.
love it. I would agree with that. So what is next for you? So like, when are these going to be finished? When are you going to start having people move in? When are you going to start hiring people there? So what is next in the whole process?
So what's next is to finalize our SBA loan and to get our permits. We are submitting to the state, to the city, to the county. And once that's through, we'll get our first installment from our SBA loan, and it is off to the races. We'll be putting shovels in the dirt. I am looking at September, October that this is all going to start. And then our estimate is about 9 to 10 months for construction. So that's how much time I have to lease up, to get families interested, to even for myself, to put myself out there more and to let people know that I'm here to explain what the difference is between care in a Mosaic Memory Care home versus care in a corporate home, what you're going to get, what you're not going to get, the problems you're not going to have. So this is exciting part for me because the last few years have been book work, learning about finance, learning about land development, traveling back and forth all over Texas, trying to find where am I going to put these homes? What deal is going to make the best sense for us? How's it all going to work financially for us since we are investing in ourselves at this point? So it's exciting to be finally at this stage presenting the world. Look what I've built. Come see.
Well,
let me show you.
I can't wait to get you back on in 2 years when you have this first one up and running and you got 3 or 4 more being built and duplicating this. I just think, I'm just so very impressed with you. You're not even leveraging other people's money. You're like, nope, this first one's on me. But people are going to see what you're doing and they're going to buy into you, Nicole, because you're, like I said, you are a light in this industry. There's just so much of people trying to cut corners and do things where you want to provide the full package. And so I'm just so very, very impressed. And which leads me to the second part of the podcast, which is what makes Nicole Becerra a badass. And I use the acronym BADASS, and the first letter is B for book. What is a book that's made a huge difference in your life? And I think you have it in front of you.
I do. One of the books that really have made a difference in my life is this one by Atul Gawande, Being Mortal.
Say that last name again.
I hope I'm saying it right. Gawande. Gawande.
Love it.
But it's called Being Mortal, and it made me cry by page 2 because it speaks to how the medical profession as a whole, it's very cold and scientific, and it's moved away from the humanity of the end of our life, and that we know about dying, but we don't know about death. If that makes any sense, like we didn't come into this world alone, and we're not going to leave this world alone, and we shouldn't, because it's a scary thing to talk about for many people, but it's also a natural thing because it's all going to happen to all of us. And how we treat our elders and how we treat people at the end of their lives matters just as much as it does in the beginning. We love caring for babies. It's not looked at the same when you're caring for somebody.
Speak for yourself. I do not care for babies.
But the idea is the idea is that honestly, at the end of your life, you want to be baby too.
Yes.
And in my experience, you do. I take care of little grandmas and grandpas who just want somebody to come and sit with them and spend time with them, rub their feet, rub their hand, listen to them, do an activity with them. And that's that's a part of good care.
Yes.
And so this book just really inspired me to embrace what I instinctually felt was my path, that I can give good love. I can give good care, and I'm going to give it, and I'm going to give it in a beautiful home. And families are going to love to come and see how great their loved ones are thriving, because they're just, good care seems like a basic right.
Absolutely.
And I've seen that it hasn't been. And so I want to help as many people as I can.
Yeah, I have.
That book is really a big deal for me.
Well, I have a neighbor whose father is in a home right now. I think it's a memory care type facility, and just her going over and seeing how much he's being fed at meals. She's just like, she's got to constantly stay on top of it. Whereas there's people who don't even their kids don't live in the area and can't even monitor these things. And so she is a huge advocate for it. So And anybody listening, they have 10, 12 stories of the same type of situation. So again,
And
that's why we need people like you. Yes.
Isn't that sad?
Yeah.
You should be able to trust the people that you're entrusting your loved ones with, that they're
Yes.
going to do right.
Period. Exactly. All right. The first A in badass is for advice. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Lately, it's been the advice by the late Catherine O'Hara, who's one of my favorite comics, when she says, "Keep going. What are you so afraid of?" And that has been some amazing advice for me. It's to keep going despite the imposter syndrome, despite feeling not enough, despite feeling some days like, what am I getting into? Is to remember my aha moment. Remember those seniors who I saw lying on the floor crying and realize, like, I can do this. Keep going. What are you so afraid of? And then, of course, Ted Lasso, believe. Believe that you can. I love Ted Lasso.
I have that sign like crooked going down my stairs as I'm coming into my studio, and I hit it every single time. So yes, believe. Definitely.
Believe and take action,
Oof.
even if it's small.
And
take action. Start researching something. You want to get into senior care? You want to own a senior home? You want to turn your home into one? What state are you in? Start looking at the requisite, like the recs, and start getting into it. And just even every day, little by little, reach out to somebody. Reach out to me.
Yes, I love that.
Take action.
All right. The D in badass is for drive. I mean, you definitely have drive, but what drives you to be successful?
Financial freedom. Doing something that I love and getting paid for it. And I'm motivated for my own situation. I'm not a mom. I don't have children. Who's going to take care of me?
Right.
If I went to a corporate care home, if I developed dementia, I would be scared seeing how seniors are treated in those places. So I'm doing this for me as much as I'm doing it for my fellow man, because I want good care when I need it.
I too don't have any kids. I'm the cool aunt, though. I will tell you that.
So am I.
So my nieces and nephews, pay attention.
We're the best.
So the second A in badass is for aspiration. I'm a big goal setter. So what is a goal you are currently working on?
My biggest goal right now goes back to Builders of Care and to continue to raise donations and find sponsors so that I can continue doing what I'm doing. My project, like I said, I'm not being invested. I'm investing in myself, and I'm financing it myself and with a loan. But Builders of Care will help others do this because capital can be hard to get. And sometimes somebody just needs a little bit to refurbish their home. So I want to get Builders of Care coffers. My goal is to do $500,000 this year.
Nice.
And so that into 2027, we can really help small operators. We can really help seniors get into those small homes. And we can also help train some caregivers, because I don't think that there's enough caregivers in this world, and we need more.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the cost of like switching your home around to make it by adding
grab bars,
ramps to the front doors, things like that. We actually had a rental. We were purchasing it. We were going to tear it down and do a new build because it was in center of two lots. But anyway, we first were like, well, let's just see if we can rent it. And the gentleman who was there was elderly. He had passed away, but he had all of that installed. He had the grab bars, the ramp, everything. And the first woman who was like, I have a disability. Is that, and I get, have a stipend from the county. Is that something that you would, I'm like, absolutely. And so great that we were able to keep it the way it was because it's perfect for her. So she gets to stay there till she doesn't need it anymore, and then we will do it because that has just been a blessing we were able to provide for her in that type of situation. But going back to my original point, having this Builders of Care, people can reach out if they need help paying for those things because they can get really, really expensive.
Yes.
What was that beep?
I'm sorry.
Is your toast ready?
Is also connected. Ding. That was just an angel. That was an angel punctuating
Yes.
exactly what you just said.
Yes, exactly. All right. So the first S in badass is for systems. What systems do you have in place to help you achieve success?
I believe in a to-do list.
Mm.
I believe in writing everything you got to do out and checking it off one by one. And I really believe now in delegation. When I first started this journey, I was doing everything myself, all the research. And when I first got my architectural team together, I had a compulsion to double check their work, double check the regulations, double check the ordinances to make sure they knew what they were doing. And I had to stop because it's just driving me crazy. I can't do it all. You have to trust your team at some point and know your lane.
Yep.
My lane is I can give good care and I can train others to give good care. And that I'm the speaker, and I'm working on that. So yeah, to-do lists and to delegate and to know your role have been great systems for me.
Have you read Who Not How?
No.
Write that down. It was such a game changer for me. Oh goodness, of course I'm blanking on who wrote it. Anyway, oh gosh, I can see it. Yellow and blue book. Anyway, Who Not How. And it's really putting the trust in people who are so good at what they do, knowing that is not your lane to be playing in, and then putting the correct people on the correct seats on the bus. So
exactly. And the bigger this project gets,
Sullivan. I think it's Dan Sullivan, I think. Oh goodness.
Yeah.
Don't be mad at me if I said it wrong. But yes, that's going to change your life. All right. I could talk to you all day, but the final S in badass is for success. What does success mean to Nicole?
Success for me is financial freedom, and it's also making a positive impact in others' lives.
Absolutely. And that is the best way to wrap this up, because I'm just so very impressed with you. I have the real estate background, you have the caregiver background, and you are doing things that are going to disrupt this industry. And I am all for it, Nicole. I'm so very impressed with you. So the listeners out there who are inspired by your story, how do they find you? Or if somebody wants to donate to your nonprofit, give us all the information for people to reach out to you.
So my nonprofit website is buildersofcare.org, and you can reach out to me there. I am on Instagram at Caring with Nicole. My other handles for Mosaic and for Builders of Care are in my Instagram bio, so you can follow me on all those accounts. And I'm journaling and documenting everything that I've been through, from just researching book work to walking the property and working with my architects and my general contractor and seeing the land start to get moved and seeing the trees start to get pulled up. So I'd love to connect with you through IG, or you can connect through our website and reach out. I'd love to answer any questions and inspire as any way I can.
Absolutely. And what a journey it's going to be to watch. So Nicole, thank you so very much for sharing your story today. And again, I look forward to having you back on in 2 years to hear about the success and all the lives you have changed. So Nicole, thank you for being with us today.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for allowing me.
Absolutely. And that is all. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Now go out there and share your badassery. And don't forget, make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you for listening to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. If you need more badassery, you can follow Jen Josie by visiting therealjenjosie.com or become a member of RAIN by registering on rainmastermind.com.